Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Mysteries of Creation. We're reading from Chapter 6, The Universal Form. We'll continue where we left last time. It was Brahma, Lord Brahma, describing the glories of Bhagavan to Narad. Brahma laughed, "My dear boy, Krishna's glories are immeasurable and therefore inconceivable. Although the source and maintainer of the mundane world, he is transcendental to its laws and logic." He is deathless and indeed awards immortality and fearlessness to others by promoting them to his spiritual abode. Narad became further intrigued. "Father, please tell me more about the spiritual worlds." Brahma explained that the material universes accounted for only 1/4 of existence. The other 3/4 were the eternal, blissful spiritual planets. Those worlds are not influenced by the modes of nature, thus no one there suffers from death or fear. Narad asked, "Who is eligible to go there, and who must stay in the material world?" Brahma replied, "Those free from material lust, desiring only to satisfy Krishna, return to the spiritual world to personally associate with the Lord. On the other hand, those desiring to gratify their own senses must remain in the material universe. However, both the liberated souls in the spiritual planets and the conditioned souls in the material universes depend on Krishna to fulfill their desires." "You said the material universes exist in him, and he also exists in the hearts of all conditioned souls," said Narad. "Surely that means we associate with him in the material worlds as well." "The Lord is not attracted to this world," replied Brahma. "He prefers his spiritual planets, where he stays in his original forms as Krishna and Narayan. Although for material creation he expands a part of himself as the 3 Purusha avatars, who manifest the Virat Roop and the entire material creation, he is personally aloof from the cosmos. To understand this better, consider the example of the sun. It always remains separate from other planets, staying in its own orbit. Nevertheless, by means of its rays and heat, it permeates the entire universe." Brahma paused for a moment as Narad assimilated his words. Then he added, "What I have spoken elucidates the Purusha Shukta found in the Rig Veda. This hymn describes how all things, past, present, and future, come from and rest within the Purusha." Narad asked, "Please explain the role you play in the creation." Brahma said, "When I appeared from the lotus flower that came from Vishnu's abdomen, there were no ingredients for performing sacrifice to him, as you know. For a sacrifice, one requires flowers, leaves, straw, a sacrificial altar, utensils, grains, clarified butter, honey, gold, earth, water, the hymns of the 3 Vedas, and 4 priests. I also needed devas so that I could invoke their name for specific purposes. All this I derived from the spiritual limbs of the Lord's gigantic universal body. Then I performed a sacrifice for his pleasure." Narad looked admiringly at his saintly father. Brahma was a perfect role model. By his personal example, he taught all living beings how to be happy by engaging the Lord's gifts in his service. Curious to know still more, Narad asked Brahma who Vishnu had manifested to assist with his sacrifice. Brahma said, "He brought into being your brothers, the 9 principal gods, such as Indra, who are the masters of all creatures. Later, the different species such as the Manus, the sages, the Daityas, the Pitris, and mankind began to manifest by Krishna's grace. They too assisted me in performance. performing sacrifice to the unseen Lord. Brahma again emphasized that although the entire cosmos comes from and depends on Narayan, he nevertheless remains aloof from his creation. Lord Narayan is never touched by material nature. Rather, he expands himself in three deities, himself, myself, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Lord Narayan is never touched by material nature. He expands himself as three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who respectively create, maintain, and destroy the universe. In reality, Vishnu does everything, as Shiva and I can only act in accordance with his will. Brahma concluded, "My dear son, whatever you inquired from me, I have now explained. Please know for certain that whatever exists both in the material and spiritual world depends entirely on Krishna." Narad sat in silent contemplation. He had discussed these subjects with his learned brothers, both amongst the gods and the sages, and he had heard theories which contradicted Brahma's explanations. Desiring to clear up these confusions, he respectfully addressed his father. "I have heard some argue that the universe is illusory. They say that when we are free of this illusion, we will see only oneness, that neither the Lord nor we are persons after liberation from matter. They contend that we are all one energy and the varieties of existence are illusory. How can I be sure that your version should be accepted over and above this view?" Brahma closed his eyes in silent prayer, beseeching Krishna to protect Narad from such misleading arguments. Opening his eyes, he humbly replied, "My dear boy, I always remember the Lord with earnest devotion. Therefore, by his grace, my words are never false. Protected by him, my mind is not attracted to illusion and my senses are never degraded by material attachment." Narad considered Brahma's reply. It was true that he never exhibited pride or lust, unlike some of the theorists whose opinions he had just cited. And as he had already explained, his words were confirmed by Vedic mantras. Folding his palms, Narad said, "Father, forgive me for challenging you. I accept you as the proper knower of truth." Narad began to glorify his father, but Brahma stopped him and said, "I am not so great that I understand everything about Krishna. It is true that I am expert in the knowledge of the Vedas, that my austerities are unrivaled, and that I am an expert in all mystic powers. For these reasons, the 9 Prajapatis who produce all species of life worship me. Nevertheless, despite my qualification, I can only understand the Lord to a limited extent. This is because he is the very source of my existence. So how can those who created by me know him properly?" Reverentially clasping his hands, Brahma said, "Therefore it is best that we all take full shelter of Krishna, who alone can deliver us from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all auspicious and enables the devotee to experience full joy. My son, just as the sky cannot estimate its own limits, similarly, even the Lord cannot estimate the limits of his greatness. What then can others know of him? Those who claim to understand him are inexperienced fools. But you have explained so much about Krishna," said Narad. "What remains unknown?" Brahma chuckled. "None of us, not you, me, or the great god Shiva, never mind anyone else, can know anything of the all blissful spiritual worlds where Krishna resides. In truth, we cannot even fully understand the material cosmos, which is but 1/4 of existence." Narad was doubtful. How could Brahma and Shiva not fully comprehend the material creation, which they respectively create and destroy? Brahma said, "I am but one Brahma governing this one small universe. How can I know the countless other universes, each with their own Brahma, many of whom are far greater than me? The material creation is practically limitless. We can know as much as the Lord reveals to us and no more. Let us therefore offer him our humble respects and glorify his all-auspicious, incarnations and the pastimes he displays, for that is all we can know of him. Narad became even more enthusiastic to hear about Krishna. Please continue describing the Lord's glories, Father. Brahma said, I thank you for your eagerness to hear about Krishna's pastimes. As I mentioned previously, Lord Narayan, who never takes birth, expands himself as Mahavishnu, his plenary part, for the purpose of creation. Mahavishnu then creates the causal ocean or the Mahatattva as a cloud in the spiritual sky lying down in the ocean. He generates the universes by his breathing. Then he enters each universal shell as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. The entire universe manifests from and rests upon him, and his partial manifestation is the invisible Supersoul. At the time of universal destruction, the creation again merges into Mahavishnu's spiritual body. Narad interjected, on the one hand you say that Narayan does not take birth, but on the other hand you say that he enters the material universe. How is that different from the living beings entering the creation? Brahma replied, although the living beings become conditioned by the material energy, Krishna always remains pure and uncontaminated. This is because he is the absolute truth, the root of all existence, full in knowledge, all-pervading like the powerful sun. He is in every way without a rival. We living entities, however, are very small and can easily be overcome by ignorance. Why are there so many misconceptions about the Lord? Asked Narad. O great sage, no one can understand him by mental speculation. One simply comes to mistaken conclusions. Only the pure devotees whose senses are completely purified by devotional service can know him by his grace. Others who hanker for material enjoyment, mystic powers, or even to merge with the Lord's existence have a distorted or incomplete understanding of him. Seeing that Narad was satisfied with his answer, Brahma continued, the first Purush incarnation, also known as Karanodakshai Vishnu, manifests the complete ingredients of material creation, namely time, space, the laws of cause and effect, mind, the gross and subtle elements, and the modes of nature. He expands as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is known as the universal form, and from whom come the living beings and their material bodies. My dear son, there are many powerful living entities in the universe, such as myself, Shiva, whom less intelligent people mistakenly think are supreme. However, no matter how great one may be, whether human, demon, God, or whatever, he is simply a particle of Krishna's transcendental potency. Father, the more I learn about Krishna, the more I wish to hear. Please tell me whatever you know. Delighted with his son's enthusiasm, Brahma said, I shall describe for you the Lord's pastimes, incarnations. I am always immersed in remembering them and their divine activities. They are pleasing to the heart, and thus they extinguish the inclination to hear other subjects. The real value of material life is to hear, describe and remember these wondrous pastimes enacted by the God in this world. My dear Narada, please relish what I am about to share with you. Thus, we both experience unlimited spiritual bliss. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.